Joan and John have the same number of pencils. John has 4 more than 5 times the number of pencils George has. John has 10 more than 3 times the number of pencils George has. Should be an S right there. How many more pencils does Joan have than John? So if Joan and John have the same number of pencils, we'll put an equal sign down. Joan has 4 more than 5 times the number of pencils George has. And John has 10 more than 3 times the number of pencils George has. Do we know anything about George? We know what everybody else has in comparison to him, but we don't know much about George. Therefore, George would have to be X. So X equals George. John and Joan have the same number of pencils, though. Joan has 4 more than 5 times the number of pencils George has. How can I represent 4 more than 5 times George? 5x plus 4 is right. 4 more than 5 times George. 5x plus 4. And then John has 10 more than 3 times the number of pencils George has. What is 10 more than 3 times George? What's 3 times George? 3x. And what's 10 more than 3x? Plus 10. So 3x plus 10. From there, you can solve that. Move the 3x to the left, change the sign, and move the 4 to the right. Change the sign. 5x minus 3x is 2x. 10 minus 4 is 6. Divide 6 by 2 and get 3. 3 represents what? Yeah, how many pencils George has? George has 3. The final question is, how many more pencils does Joan have than John? Well, Joan is on the left. Well, not there, but right here. 5x plus 4. If I put a 3 in for x, what do I get? 19. And then John is over here. If I put a 3 in for x, for 3x plus 10, what do I get? 19. So how many more pencils does Joan have than John? How much? 0. Yeah, the answer would be 0 because they have the same amount. And if you look up here at the beginning of the problem, Joan and John have the same number of pencils. And if you read the last question, how many more pencils does Joan have than John? You don't have to work anything out for this problem. Answer 0 without any math whatsoever. But we worked it out anyway just to get the practice for this. Some of these questions can be done without doing any math whatsoever if you pay attention to the word problem. Julie has 7 more than 3 times the number of books, should be an S right there, that Sally has. Alan has 21 more than twice the number of books that Sally has. Alan's books are equal to the sum of Julie and Sally. How many books does each person have? Okay, we'll come up in here. Julie has 7 more than 3 times the number of books that Sally has. Alan has 21 more books than twice the number of books Sally has. Do we know anything about Sally? No, so we can let Sally be X. Then we can go back through and feed these in here. We'll start with Julie. Julie has what? 7 more than 3 times Sally. So how do I represent 7 more than 3 times Sally. 7 plus 3x is right. Or 3x plus 7. Now we'll move on to Alan. Alan has 21 more than twice the number Sally has. So what is 21 more than twice Sally? 2x plus 21. Alan's books are equal to the sum of Julie and Sally. So Alan's books, Alan has 2x plus 21. And Alan's books are equal to the sum of Julie and Sally. Here is Sally and Julie there. Sally is x, and we need the sum of Sally and Julie. So that's x for Sally plus 7 plus 3x for Julie. That is your equation, and you can solve it. Before you do so, make sure you simplify like terms. On this side, you just have an x and a constant. A constant is a number with no variable. On the right, you have an x and a 3x. What's x plus 3x? 4x. So now you can put this together so that you can solve it. I have 2x on the left that stays, but the 4x goes over and changes signs. A 7 on the right and 21 goes over, changes signs. 2x minus 4x is negative 2x, and 7 minus 21 is negative 14. Divide negative 14 by negative 2 and come up with 7. Now 7 represents Sally. What is the question asking? How many books does each person have? So you have to list each person and show how many books they have. Well, we've already taken care of Sally here. Sally has 7 books. So now the next person we have to take care of is Julie. Julie is 7 plus 3x. So Julie is 7 plus 3x. X is 7. So 3 times 7 in here, adding the other 7. 7 plus 21 is 28. That takes care of Julie. Alan is 2x plus 21. Alan is 2x plus 21. So put in a 7 for x and then evaluate. Alan ends up with 35 books. Check your answer. Back here in the problem, it says that Alan's books are equal to the sum of Julie and Sally. So Julie and Sally added together, here's Sally and here's Julie. If I add these together, I should get 35. Do I or don't I? I do, yes. So you have 3 answers to list for that problem. Tyler has 5 less than 4 times the number of books as Roger. Charlie has 13 more than 3 times the number of books as Roger. You're referring to Roger, but you don't really know what Roger has, not even a clue. So Roger would have to be X. The sum of the books between Tyler and Roger is the same as the number of books as Charlie. Then we have to list them in order from left to right. Let's go back up here and find Tyler. Tyler is 5 less than 4 times the number Roger has. 5 less than 4 times. So here's Tyler. 5 less than 4 times. Charlie has 13 more than 3 times Roger. So here's Charlie. And that was 13 more than 3 times. The sum of the books between Tyler and Roger is equal to Charlie. So Tyler and Roger added together. Roger is x, Tyler is 4x minus 5. That is equivalent to what Charlie has. Now on the left side you have x plus 4x, that is 5x. Now you can solve it. Move the 3x to the left, change the sign, and move the minus 5 to the right, change the sign. 2x equals 18. Divide 18 by 2 and come up with 9. Remember that Roger is x, so we now know how much Roger has. Roger is 9. Now we go to Tyler. Tyler is 4x minus 5. So 4 times 9 minus 5 is 36 minus 5, which is 31. So we have Tyler. And Charlie is 3x plus 13. 3x plus 13 is 3 times 9 plus 13. 27 plus 13 is 40. Now the question said, list the number of books each person has in order from left to right. So we know Roger has 9, that's the lowest. The next highest is 31, and the next highest is 40. Kevin has 6 more than 6 times the number of pens as Ryan. Eric has 30 more pens than Ryan. We don't know anything about Ryan, so Ryan is going to have to be X. We'll put that here. And before we read the rest of the problem, we'll go ahead and set up the equation. Kevin has 6 more than 6 times the number of pens as Ryan. So Kevin would have to be 6x plus 6. And then Eric has 30 more than Ryan. So we'll just put that here. X plus 30. The sum of the pens between Ryan and Kevin is the same as Eric's. So we know that x plus 6x plus 6 should be equal to x plus 30. X plus 6x is 7x. Let's solve this equation, keeping the 7x, moving the x over, changing the sign, and move the 6 over, change the sign. 6x equals 24. So x equals 24 divided by 6, that's going to be 4. Now 4 represents Ryan. The question, if eBay requires a seller to have at least 35 pens, then who is qualified to sell on eBay? If anyone is not qualified, then how many more pens would each of those people need? Well, is Ryan qualified? No. So that's it for that. And then we have to go back and look at Kevin. Kevin is 6x plus 6. So here's Kevin. 6x, x is 4, and then plus 6. That is 24 plus 6, which is 30. Is he qualified? How many more pens does he need? 5. So Kevin is not qualified, and he'll need 5 more pens. And then last is Eric. Eric is x plus 30. So 4 plus 30 is 34. Is Eric qualified? No. How many more pens does he need? 1. All right, so the question, who is qualified to sell on eBay from the beginning? Is anybody qualified to sell on eBay from the beginning? Who is? Nobody? Okay, so Kevin needed 5 and Eric needed 1. How many does Ryan need in order to be qualified? 31.